One can choose to go back towards safety or forward toward growth. Growth must be chosen again and again, just as fear must be overcome again and again.
Motherfucker, I've been mortified, fortified, feeling like a Mordecai. I ain't regular, feel like Jordan wearing 45. Traumatized, victimized, seen some of my niggas die. Knock you off a base with a bat when them niggas slide. Homicide, genocide, televised, emphasize, perpetuating war. Tell that nigga he gon' pick a side. Hood ties from hood lines, now niggas doing dope lines. I'm running to the cops, that's a bitch, nigga exercise.
I will run 5-10 kilometers. I will do 3-4 hours of deep work a day. I will do everything I can in my day to squeeze out every fucking juice of sweat throughout my body, man. And guess what? I still feel empty. I still feel empty. I have this empty void in me. Doubt, 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 doubt. I thought self-improvement was supposed to help me. I thought self-improvement was supposed to be therapy for men. Why am I always feeling empty? No matter how much I do in my life, I never get satisfied. I never feel fulfilled. I can have the best day in the world. I can be more productive than David fucking Goggins. And guess what? Emptiness. Nothing. Absolute nothingness. So in this video, I wanted to talk about how self-improvement ruined my life. And for those of you feeling empty as well, I'm going to tackle these issues in this video. I hope this helps you guys. The first idea I wanted to talk about is never feeling like you're enough. So if you're like me, no matter how much money you make or how high status you achieve, what goals you crush, you will never feel like you're enough in this world. There are some days you can do everything absolutely right to the 10th of a degree and still feel shitty about yourself. It's because you and I share something in common. We're both egoists, meaning our behaviors are driven by self-interest. So in other words, we're both selfish. We continue to lie to ourselves, looking at the person in the mirror and trying to convince that person that we're doing this to change the world, to be an example to people. Okay, maybe to an extent we both want to make a positive change in this world, but when we really dig deep and uncover our true dark desires, it's to put ourselves in a better position to make money and build status so we can finally earn the respect that we've never gotten as kids because maybe we got bullied or held on to past traumas that never made us feel like we're enough. I mean, why else do we put ourselves out there trying to build a brand, climb the corporate ladder, or accomplish something, sacrifice so much in return for self-improvement? The ego is real and it does exist in every single one of us. And there's no denying our desires towards these things. There's been a rise in men getting into self-improvement today, and this is largely due to the rise of depression and suicide rates. There are dozens of studies and surveys over the past several decades that have shown that men of all ages are less likely than women to seek help for all sorts of problems, including depression, substance abuse, and stressful life events, even though they encounter those problems at the same or greater rates as women. In 1993, a study published in Psychotherapy reviewed several surveys and found that 2 full thirds of mental health outpatient visits were made by women. This inability, reluctance, or straight up unwillingness to get help can harm men's own mental health and physical health and can make life more difficult for their friends and family. And you see a huge market on YouTube for self-improvement, where men are relying on self-improvement to fix them. In other words, self-improvement has become therapy for men. Now, I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and say it doesn't work, because it works for a lot of us, including myself. But it's also important to look at the other side of the coin and see the other perspective. There are thousands of self-help books profiting over men's misery. Think about it. Imagine a multi-billion-dollar industry, 13.2 billion in 2022 to be exact. We read a book, an article, or watch a video to feel better, but are we actually getting better? I mean, is there actually an underlying solution in self-improvement, or are we just chasing a carrot on a donkey until death? Another reason we feel like we're never enough is because there's no end goal to self-improvement. Every time you hit a goal or milestone, it's okay, what's the next goal? What's the next achievement? And as soon as you stop chasing those goals, you feel empty inside. You feel like you're a complete waste of time because nothing else matters now other than your own interests and selfish desires. I find myself saying no all the time. No to family, no to friends, no to video games, no to vacations. No, no, don't know, because the mission is improving at the very thing that is ruining my life. I was reading The Psychology of Money, and the author mentions that you have to have an end post for finance, otherwise you will go on forever and never be satisfied. But from my experience, theory and application are like apples and oranges, meaning it's extremely difficult to apply theory in the real world, even if it makes complete sense on paper. And I see this all the time when I read philosophy and stoicism, when it tells you how you should conduct yourself as a human being. But is it really that easy when you go through these destructive patterns of emotions? Because when the real world hits, it's not that simple. For example, you might hear all the time that it's important to practice gratitude and write down your blessings on a piece of paper. But then why do you find yourself coming back to those destructive thoughts that are bringing you down? You see, we all get this confused. We all think if we apply X, Y, Z, then we will reach this blissful experience where our problems are all solved. Here's some newsflash for you. Your problems will never be solved, and even if you do solve your problems, it will just breed a new one. So what does this mean for us? Are we truly doomed? Should we just give up, be a complete degenerate, eat chips, and be comfortable on the couch? Well, not quite. You might think I'm going to suggest that you balance your life, but I'm not going to tell you that either. I'm going to say something that nobody in this world is willing to say. Whatever you choose to do, my friend, you are going to suffer. No matter what path you choose, life will find a way to poison you. So Issa, if I'm gonna get poisoned anyway, what's the point of it all? I'll tell you what the point of it is. Rather than letting life and whatever external thing come in and destroy you, you need to choose your own poison that will benefit you and society the most. What I mean by this is, instead of giving complete hope to nihilism, choose the path of improving yourself with the knowledge that you will always feel this curse of emptiness. You see this often with celebrities, and one of my favorite interviews was with Mike Tyson when he said,
"Why do I have to go through this pain? Why do I have to go through this fear all the time? Why can't it just be peaceful all the time? Then it wouldn't be life." You know, we have to live life on life terms, not on our terms.
I've never related to this so much because I used to think that if we just solve our problems and do X, Y, Z, then we can reach this blissful peace where everything is just solved and we're in a good zone. But that's not how life works. Well, I say choose the path that will guide you to better health, better status, better spirituality, better philosophy, with the knowledge that you're still walking a poisonous road. Because choosing that poisonous road is way better than letting anything enter your life as it pleases. When I was reading The Obstacle is the Way, the author mentions first, see clearly, next, act correctly, finally, endure and accept the world as it is. And that's what it means to struggle in self-improvement. See the hazardous path you must go on. Act on the path of most obstacles, even if you know you will feel shitty about it. And then next, accept the world as it is, including those negative emotions, because they're gonna come up and down in a cycle. So yes, it might feel like futile at the end of the day, but self-improvement is the least futile in my opinion, because the world's a much better place when you inspire others to light their candles to pursue what is meaningful to them. Which brings me on to my next point. You don't have to be on self-improvement to provide value to you or society. I see my mom, for example. She's a teacher and she lives one of the most fulfilling lives I've ever seen. She doesn't stress about making money or going to the gym or any of that self-improvement ish we talk about in our videos. Yet she still lives a very peaceful and fulfilling lifestyle that also contributes to society as a teacher. And I see this often when her students send her letters where they went from nothing to being compatible to their dream job, and they actually feel of value to society. So this is all to say that you don't have to be completely obsessed about self-improvement and bash others who are not on their own self-improvement journeys just because some cult leader told you so. You are able to feel valuable and get help when necessary. Just because 2/3 of men don't seek therapy doesn't mean it's not for all men. And I understand that most men need actionable steps to feel useful in life, such as myself. But for those who still struggle, I want you to know that it is completely normal to seek therapy and consultation. Expressing yourself to someone that you can trust. I myself find it super helpful when I let go and just let it out to my brotherhood and even my girl, yes, to those red pill communities who think I'm a little bitch. According to psychology professor Glenn Good, who studies men and masculinity, we should encourage more men to get help when needed and make that help more effective. The research so far suggests 2 key solutions. Make men understand that many other men face mental health issues like depression, and adjust the description of therapy itself to make it more appealing to men. They even went so far lengths to change the word therapy to consultation just so men will be more open to signing up. And this isn't spoken enough in the self-improvement niche on YouTube. We're all extremely polarized, telling you that you need to do this to get this. But I'm learning in life that things are never black or white. The answer is never a hard yes or a hard no, but something much deeper than that. And I encourage all of you to seek what is deeper within you. Because at the end of the day, I don't know the answer, bro. I don't know what you go through. I don't know your life. I don't know your problems, your strengths, your weaknesses. The only thing I can do is document my journey. And hopefully if you can take one valuable thing from the videos I make, then that's huge, bro. That's a huge dub for both of us. The last idea I'd like to talk about is dealing with guilt. One of the most common dilemmas in self-improvement is always feeling this immense guilt whenever you take a break. This is something I can relate to deeply as a person because I used to be someone who loves to travel, try new experiences, go out and have fun with family and friends. Now I feel like I'm just a workaholic who tries to maximize their amount of productivity in a day, which is so toxic. This was so toxic, in fact, that last year when I went to Portugal with my girl, 5 days into the trip, I told her that I'm ready to come back home and just do some work even though we had 10 days left in the trip. I can see why my girl was so concerned now at the time. Imagine you're with the love of your life in one of the most beautiful places in the world and your mind is telling you should go back home and do work because you don't deserve a break. I felt so guilty taking that trip that even the night before, I ran half a marathon at 1 a.m. in the morning for the first time in my life. My family thought I was crazy limping down the stairs the next morning. Do you feel like this too? Can you never take a break or vacation? Do you feel terrible about yourself whenever you take it easy? Well, there's a reason why me and you feel this guilt. One of them being that the world puts immense pressure on men to go out there in society and be successful. Another being that men are expected to toughen it out no matter the circumstances or situations because, fair enough, based on history and civilizations, men have always been the one to sacrifice their life for the greater good of their family, their wives and their kids. And lastly, you feel guilty because whatever is not being contributed to the betterment of you in society is instead being wasted on coping mechanisms like video games and virtual simulations that is supposed to mimic the same effect of progress in the real world. Have you ever noticed when you feel so bad after playing 2 hours of video games or sitting on the couch and binge watching a TV show that really didn't do much for your life? You bottle up every ounce of guilt that is essentially spent doing nothing and you let it suffocate your very being until you go through another cycle of monk mode productivity. That is what's known as a procrastination cycle. There are thousands of studies done showing why we procrastinate and how to solve it, but I'm not going to waste your time with that or confuse you with those studies. I'm going to shift your attention towards something that's been helping me recently. I was reading this book, No Bad Parts, and it goes to explain that every single human being has different personalities, just like the people with personality disorder issues, except we just don't recognize them as different parts. So inside of you, there might be a drill sergeant, a playful kid, a protector, an inner critic. All of these inner parts are multiple of one, that one being you. And they all play a crucial role in protecting you from your inner demons and your inner trauma. Instead of ignoring one part and pushing them down, we should instead learn how to live with them and actually give the right attention to the right one in the right given time. Because that's the part that needs the most love and attention from us at that time. So if our playful self is lacking attention and time, then it would actually be very beneficial for you to have a good laugh with friends, unwind, ease down, even if you don't want to. Think about it as having discipline for your discipline. It really depends on what you're going through in each cycle of life. In other words, you might say I'm contradicting myself from the last principle because this is essentially just bringing balance back into your life, but I want to remind you that this is a constant battle that's never won. It's a war for life. And this is shown through all the different stages we go through life as students, full-time workers, as parents, because they all have one thing in common: responsibilities. And what comes with responsibilities? Stress and problems. So I want to end off this video by saying, no matter what solution or strategy that you find works for you, just know that you will always go through some type of stress that will cause this cycle to repeat again and again. And that's what it means to just live as a human being, to suffer and find meaning in the suffering. I understand that this topic can be very complicated, but I hope you took something from this video that will add value into your life, because I thought the truth of sharing my journey would be beneficial to those confused about theirs. Remember, it's normal to feel empty at times. It's normal to feel stressed, and it's normal to struggle like everybody else, because at the end of the day, we're all just human. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed that video, please subscribe for more content on masculinity, philosophy, and relationships. Until next time, guys.